It's time now for this special segment that we're calling Joey B for MVP. That's right. I said it right here. Joey B for MVP. And I know I'm not alone, Cincinnati Bengals fans, because even if you go back to September, Kay Adams was saying this. She had a predict-a-thon, right, for 2024 and picking her MVP, and she made the selection of Joe Burrow. That's right. That was back in September. She didn't know that Joe Burrow was going to have 10 games this season with 3 or more touchdown passes. He didn't know that he was going to do it for 3 consecutive games, or excuse me, 8 consecutive games with 3 touchdowns or more. How did she know that back in September? She must have had an intuition. In fact, he became one of only 5 quarterbacks to have 4 consecutive games of 300 yards passing and 3 touchdown passes or more. Joe Burrow has done some excellent and most phenomenal things seldom seen by quarterbacks in the National Football League. Will Compton went ahead and said this, and this is coming from a former player in the National Football League, that most people will probably give the MVP to Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen. But for him, Joey B is the best player in the league. I got to agree with you, Will Compton. There's no doubt about it. He said, let's be clear. I think that Lamar and Josh are elite players, but Joe Burrow has the edge. I'm in agreement with him. Even Dan Orlovsky of ESPN has come out and said, you're right, Joe Burrow. Oh, you're all right. MVP isn't over. He said, that's on me, because he had bailed a week earlier, saying that he thought the race is over. He had went for Josh, but now he's back on the Joey B train. And here is what Zach Taylor, Cincinnati Bengals head coach, had to say when they asked him about it after the game against the Denver Broncos. He says, look, I don't know that anybody can stand on the field and watch Joe Burrow play and say that he is not the best player in the world. Oh, I love it. Zach Taylor doubling down on his dude. You know, it's kind of like if you're a horse jockey, right? And if you're riding Secretariat, what other horse would you want? I got Secretariat. I'm riding across the finish line on one of the greatest horses to ever live. That's Joey B, a true thoroughbred in every true sense of the word. How about this, though, coming from the guys at Sunday Night Football on NBC? They put together an interesting graphic, and it shows the quarterback most consecutive games with 250 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. Joe Burrow has done it 8 times this season. You know who he passed? You know who's the other? Here are the other guys that do it. Tom Brady did it 6 times in 2007. Joe Burrow's already done it 8 straight times. Steve Young had 250-plus passing yards and 3 touchdowns in 5 consecutive games. That was done back in 1998. Peyton Manning did it 5 straight times in 2012. Aaron Rodgers did it over the course of 2 seasons, but still 5 straight games in 2012, 2013. No quarterback, okay, since 1970 has done it for 8 straight games. That's Joey B for MVP. Gotta love what he is doing. Here is one stat that shows Joey B's record in the month of December. We always say December is the month to remember. That's right. Nobody remembers what happened in September. Nobody. Did you know that the LA Rams went 1-4 in the month of September? They have since won 9 of their last 10 ball games, and they just won the division title in the NFC West. Nobody's talking about what they did in September. December is the month to remember. And over the course of Joey B's career, he's played 13 games in the month of December. He's 10-3 in those 13 games. He's thrown for over 4,000 yards in those 13 games in the final month of the season. Has a 8.2 yards per attempt and a 72% completion percentage. 72% completion percentage. Anytime you're in the 70s in a completion percentage, just so you guys know this, that's not good. That's exceptional. About 65% is good. 68% is really good. If you're completing 70% of your passes, think about it. Every time you throw it, every 10 times, 7 of those passes are complete. That's why if you find a quarterback that is completing 70+% of their passes, that's like Hall of Fame numbers. Just write it down. Most of your Hall of Fame quarterbacks, if they're good, and they are because they're in the Hall of Fame, they probably finished their careers of completing right around 65 to 68% of their passes. Joe Burrow, throughout his career in the month of December, is completing 72% of his passes. Write it down. He's had 34 touchdown passes in the deciding month of December and 10 interceptions during that same month, and a quarterback passer rating of 111.2. He is simply phenomenal. There's no doubt about it. Oh, by the way, you remember December 28th, 2019, he won a championship playing for LSU against the Clemson Tigers. That's when he took his team to 15-0 record to win the greatest prize in all of college football. And I'm not talking about his Heisman Trophy. I'm talking about a championship. He did that on December 28th, 2019. You know what he just did on December 28th, 2024? Beat the Denver Broncos to keep us in playoff contention. This dude is consistently a winner. That's why I'm talking Joey B for MVP. And, oh, by the way, he's already said that he's willing to do whatever it takes to keep T Higgins. T Higgins, turns out, will do whatever it takes for Joe Burrow. That includes catching 3 touchdown passes in a phenomenal game played by T Higgins, where he caught 11 passes in this game in his 10th touchdown reception of the year. I guarantee you they know who T Higgins is in Denver, don't they? Right about now. His performance is screaming, sign me ASAP. That's what Bingo Lorian is saying as he's sending it out on his Twitter handle. Don't mess with T Higgins. He just fired his agent, hired the same agent as Ja'Marr Chase, and Joe Burrow has already sent out overtures that he's willing to do whatever it takes to keep one of the best receivers of the game. If we keep these two together, along with Joe Burrow, there's greatness in the future of the Cincinnati Bengals. When Ja'Marr Chase, T Higgins, and Joe Burrow are lining up in the same huddle. Okay? Now, look, I got to say this because I'm reading another tweet and it said, this is surreal in terms of what we're seeing from T Higgins. He says, I hope not, but that could have been his last game in stripes. That's what T Higgins said in a post-game interview. So let's just hope it's not his last game. Let's hope not. There are a lot of people who are on bended knee praying that the Cincinnati Bengals will hear their cries and re-sign T Higgins for the upcoming 2025 season and beyond, because it's just too much fun to watch. We can't let it go. You think about it. Ja'Marr Chase, T Higgins, and Joey B for the foreseeable future. We're going to win a lot of games, y'all. That's why I'm sitting here screaming Joey B for MVP.